Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Sri Guru. Hare Krishna. So we'll just continue our discussion on the topic of fear for a few minutes, and then we'll come back to Prabhupada's purport. So this is a very important discussion we were having, that how fear is the Krishna's main enemy. When we experience love of Krishna, then only we'll be able to completely overcome fear. And here Kamsa is manifesting, Kamsa is trying to kill Krishna and he's sending so many demons. So all other obstacles, that all other anarthas that are manifesting, the root cause is fear in that way, because lust, greed, pride, anger, envy, and all these things, they are coming. So here we see that the attachments that give rise to fear is the enemy of Krishna. And Kamsa is the most important enemy, and people don't want to part from their attachments. What happens is, why this fear of, if I go to Krishna, I'll have to give up my attachments. So then, because I am attached to matter, I understand if I go to Krishna, then I will need to get rid of all this material attachment. Is scary. So there is a vicious cycle. I want to be free from fear. To free from fear, I have to go to Krishna. But if I go to Krishna, I am fearful that I lose my attachments. So that's what actually, fear keeps me out of spiritual path. Fear prevents me from approaching Krishna. And fear eats me completely. The first step that I take, they are filled with fear. Sometimes a person falls into the loop. So we have seen, discussed this part also, that Arjuna was also, this is actually what happens to our mind constantly. We constantly try to hide behind something because of fear. And we saw how Dhritarashtra approached Sanjaya, asking Sanjaya. Duryodhana is approaching Dronacharya. Arjuna is also afraid. All three of them, the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is very important because it gives the problem statement. What exactly is the problem? So there are only one emotion, but a person reacts it differently. Now the important thing is, Duryodhana remained like that, fearful, but Arjuna could conquer fear. This is very important. What is the three things that made Arjuna to conquer fear? We will try to understand the reasons. What exactly is the solution? And there are so many obstacles in the path of spiritual life. If people don't understand, that is a big problem. And we hear that, and we are here, and that is a proof that we have problems. And then we saw Arjuna is saying, I am surrendered soul, but he don't want to fight. He want to do whatever he wants. So when people come, they can remain in ISKCON as a pure devotee for long, but need not do what Krishna wants. So if one is sincere, he has some intuitive feeling that he must surrender. But when we surrender, but we want to do what we want to do, we can remain, but without changing. That is the problem. So Prabhupada says spiritual life is difficult, but material life is hopeless. And this also, we saw people when they come, they have this first enthusiasm, false enthusiasm also. They say, okay, I will do it myself. Okay, come on, Krishna, show me the army, I will fight. Arjuna also did. And immediately after 1 minute, he said, no, I will not fight. So spiritual life is also declaration of war, and fear paralyzes. Of course, there is so many other things also. Maybe I don't want to go details. People hide behind fanatism and all. This is all because of fear only. Now, just one small topic I want to take in continuation with this. The obstacles part I will discuss further, and then we'll go for the solution. If not today, further classes. So this is second part of our fear, we can say second discussion. There are 9 obstacles actually practicing yoga faces. Very interesting. This is actually Patanjali Muni tells, but it is applicable for us also. First is illness. Illness, actually disease as a psychosomatic character. That means first mentally person becomes ill. If somebody don't want to become ill, there are 2 very important things. If we can mandate, he has to digest the thoughts, he has to digest the food. So if he can take rest by 9 to 12 o'clock, that is the time he gets proper rest in the night. Between 9 and 12, all his thoughts, which are incidents that happened the whole day, they will get digested. And the food we eat, if we can eat little early dinner, and then we sleep by 9 or max 10, then by 12, all the food is digested, all the thoughts are digested. So mind is also fresh, and you can wake up by 3-4 o'clock chant. The mind is digesting, mind is very healthy. Body is digesting food, body is healthy. So person will not get any psychosomatic diseases. This because diseases like hypertension or blood pressure or sugar or diabetes or even hair loss or gray hair or obesity, they're actually psychological diseases first. Then from psychology it comes to the body. So he'll not get. And if food is properly digested, he'll not get any body pains, this, that, so many other things which food is properly digested. So these two things, if somebody follows, if they can take early dinner, take rest by 9 o'clock, at 12 o'clock he is digesting the food inside the body, is because our whatever happens now, buddhi start digesting the good feelings, bad feeling, good experience, bad experiences that we go through that whole day will be digested. Then when we wake up, we are fresh, we are free from all that impression. So unwanted things, how our food digest is unwanted is going away. Similarly, unwanted emotions, they also go away from our system. So we'll remain fresh. That is the reason. Some things every day it happens, some bad experience. When we take rest early and when we wake up and chant, finish. We are no more mental disease. It means any disease that comes from mind. Mind is very healthy, like that. Now here illness, this is psychosomatic. So most of our illness, we are a way to get away from some kind of problems. So like example in childhood, this many of you must be having, I also. So we don't want to go school. We feel, Mama, see, I think I got fever. And mother will look and say, no, you are go to school. So we feel that I want to become sick so that I need not go to school. So this is a certain psychological strategy that is fixed in our mind. So people taking to spiritual partner, they suddenly fall ill. So often all this comes from the mind only, because the disease gives certain advantage. Illness is a very good way to hide. I said, see, I cannot come. And this we have experience. If somebody has run some youth centers, I have experience of youth centers, taking care of some youth centers. And the boys, we make them stay at our place and they have to wake up at 4 o'clock. And we see very frequently they become sick and they say, I'm sick, I'm not coming. And really they have some fever or some illness, some nose running or some headache, something they'll get so that they need not wake up at 4 o'clock. So they hide with this, and they were normal, whole day they'll be normal, but morning they become sick. They cannot take it. Second is mental laziness or lack of interest and not interested. So we feel I already heard all these things, I know everything. So this also makes body weak. People are lazy. And the third thing is doubt or indecision or hesitation. This is actually very advantageous. Person hides doubt very deeply because he needs them in order to find some kind of trick. He says, why? Because doubt we keep to the very end. Anytime we can use it. So if I have doubts, I can say at any moment, why should I do this? I don't believe only. This is a kind of backdoor. You say, why are you not doing? See, I don't have faith so much. Yeah. You are all very advanced devotees. You are all very elevated. You can do it, but I don't have this. I have doubts. So this is actually people use as some kind of backdoor. So they keep this doubts with them. And then there is carelessness. This is a very dangerous thing. Negligence. This is the 11th offense to the holy name also. We read every day. So this is because of pride. And inattention is based on, I think of myself so much. That's why we are inattentive. All forms of inattention and negligence that we have is actually because of self-centeredness. That's all. So and then yes, so fifth is laziness. So laziness is because of tamoguna. I have so much experience of it. When a person reads mantra, he falls asleep. He may go to samadhi also. into irrevocable samadhi. So this every time happens for many people. This is laziness. So of course they all have some connections, but we can distinguish there is a difference in terms of carelessness, laziness. And then there is a sixth is very important. This also happens. The tendency to excessive feeling and pleasure. That means suddenly a desire comes from nowhere that it pulls in all directions. I want to enjoy. For so many years, I didn't watch any movie only. Let me try something. Let me go to this. Let me go there. I didn't go and eat and enjoy with my friends or whatever comes. So this type of tendency also comes. Suddenly that urge comes to do some sense gratification. And seventh, eighth, ninth are little more interesting. This comes at a little different level. So this is seventh is the various visions or voices or dreams or revelations that people receive on the path. And I have experienced how people coming me and telling I have recently met somebody and they told that they regularly talk to Krishna now and they have very great realizations. Of course, they are not ISKCON devotee. They came first time to temple and I spoke to them. Now I have a big task. I have to make them stop talking to Krishna first so that they can focus on chanting and other things. So this is what happens to people, and majority of people with these revelations who write books, it is a product of fact that the person has not reached to the end. So he has very limited understanding. It seems to him that he received everything and he become contacted, so he feels fixed. And this is very important. This is when a mind begins to deceive a person. So look, everything is fine with you. You have already achieved this by reading information from the highest level, layers of atmosphere. And a person issues some information as ultimate truth and he becomes a prophet. And this happens in India so much. So many gurus come, they write their revelations and all. And next is tossing, that means it's up and down. The person cannot fully concentrate. He changes his position, rushes about and all. And then Vikshepa, this is even Jiva Goswami, he writes, this is Vikshepa is one of the obstacles before coming to the stage of Nishtha. So this is throwing our mind on inability to stay at the same level, and I am lower or higher. So, and so and everything is fine with me today, versus tomorrow, the day after tomorrow is even better. So it's up and down. So these are the few. I think we will continue discussion tomorrow because I had to complete our purports also. So we'll just read few, and there are some important points Prabhupada is mentioning, because the discussion which Dharma is, the arguments which Dharma is giving is also very interesting. You'll see what Prabhupada is commenting on them, and they are very helpful. I forgot to share the notes yesterday. I will do it, but this both about fear 1, fear 2. We may have 2 more sessions on fear, which is all these obstacles and fear. So now Dharma is saying, so here we saw the last, O great apostle Manvi, it is very difficult to ascertain the particular miscreant who has caused our suffering, because we are bewildered by all different opinions of theoretical philosophers. That's the first reason he gives. Second, he says some philosophers, those who deny all sorts of duality, declare that one's own self is responsible for his personal happiness and distress. Others say that superhuman powers are responsible, while yet others say that activity is responsible, and the gross materialistic maintain that nature is ultimately the cause, ultimate cause. What Prabhupada is saying, as referred to above, philosophers like Gemini and his followers establish that fruitive activity is the root cause of all distress and happiness, and that even if there is a superior authority, some superhuman powerful god and gods, he or they are also under the influence of fruitive activity, because they reward a result according to one's action. So what these philosophers say, like say if you do some good activity, then you get result for it. Do bad activity, you get. So even if devatas are giving some good or bad, they have to be according to your good and bad activity only. No, they are not independent. They cannot do whatever they want. They cannot say somebody is doing so many nefarious activities, is like Jagai and Madai, and then they are rewarding him some very nice material opulence and material comforts and all these things. It is not possible. They will not take them to heaven. Somebody is giving charity, he will not be punished. So that means they are doing according to the law. So they are also under some superior authority, supreme authority only. So they are not independent. So they say they are just acting. So this is Gemini. Even Krishna also tells the same this philosophy to Nanda Maharaj, Govardhan Leela. This is what demigod. They just have to do their duty. You do your thing, they will do their thing. Why they have to just unnecessarily please them? They're just doing their activity. We do our activity. They said that action is not independent because action is performed by some performer. Therefore, the performer himself is the cause of his own happiness or distress. That's all. I did my activity, I had to suffer. So in the Bhagavad Gita also it is confirmed that by one's mind freed from material affection, one can deliver himself from the suffering of material plans. So one should not entangle oneself in matter by mind's material affection. Thus one's mind's thus one's own mind is one's friend or enemy in one's material happiness and distress. So this is another level. It's all your mental game. So if you can understand the situation according to your state of mind, whether you will feel distress or not, it's all your state of mind. You just change your state of mind, then you are okay. So this is another way of understanding things. This is another philosophies. So many of these philosophies are now very prominent. They say it's a mental state. So just change your mental state and then you are okay. All these so-called religious organizations, very big religious who preach at a corporate level, they actually work on this level. They say it's a mental state. Change your mental state. Do some vipassana, do this yoga, do that yoga, do this meditation, just to change the mental state. But that is also not actually the solution. We'll see what. Atheistic, materialistic Sankates conclude that material nature is cause of all causes. According to them, combination of material elements are the causes of material happiness and distress, and the disintegration of matter is the cause of freedom from all material plans. So this is from the atheistic community. They say it's all chemical reaction, Baba. you just take a frog and they cut it, and then they put some salt and it is responding. You see, it is responding to stimuli. So you keep some stimuli, then there is a reaction. If you take some item and you put some chemical in it, it responds. So it's all chemical reactions. So even in my mind also, it's all chemical reactions. Based on chemical reactions, I am speaking in certain way, reacting to certain things and behaving certain things. It's all material elements. This is what is scientists say. Gautama and Kannada find that atomic combinations is the cause of everything, and impersonalists like Ashtavakra find that the spiritual effulgence of Brahman is the cause of all causes. But in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord himself declares that he is the source of impersonal Brahman, therefore he, the personality of God, it is the ultimate cause of all causes. It is found in Brahma Samhita that Lord Krishna is the ultimate cause of all causes. So some say, oh, it's chemical. Some say, no, atom is the cause. Some say, Brahman is the cause. And then Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is like, I am the cause. So then here, Matta Parataram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya Mai Sarvam Potam Sutre Mane. Matta Parataram, it's all me only. And Brahma Samhita says Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Nadiradi Govinda Sarva. So all these things actually, they are the different mentalities and psychologies of people which they operate in this material world. And these all philosophies are eternal philosophies. As long as creation is the living entities of this mentality will be there, and they have very nice logical arguments in their philosophy, and they are convinced about it. And so here Dharma is saying, see, so many people are telling so many things. What can I conclude? That's what he said. Na? So many scriptures, so many conclusions, and so many philosophers, so many conclusions. Which one I should ascertain? There are also some thinkers who believe that no one can ascertain the cause of distress by argumentation. So this is another category of people. So already scriptures are so many. They are giving their own arguments, and philosophers are giving their own arguments. And some philosophers says you'll never understand only, or nor know it by imagination, nor express it by words. O sage among king, judge by yourself by thinking over all this with your own intelligence. So here, as explained above, the Vaishnavas, the devotees of the Lord, believe that nothing can take place without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. He is the Supreme Director, for he confirms in Bhagavad Gita that he, as all-pervading Paramatma, stays in everyone's heart as witness and keeps vigilance over all actions of living beings. The argument of the atheist that one cannot be punished for one's misdeeds unless they are proved before a qualified judge is refuted hearing. For we accept the Lord as a perpetual witness and constant companion of the living entities. This is a very nice point. What it is told that now, if somebody need punishment, then they have to go to the court, judge had to prove it, they have to bring the witness and they have to show, they have to prove. If they could not prove, even though you might have done 100 murders also, if they cannot prove, you can go free. But Paramatma in the heart, he don't go by that witness. He already knows what you did. So all the things will happily. This fellow will get punishment very badly. Whatever sin he has done. Or good things also Lord is saying. So this is the point. So the argument that cannot be punished is actually not agreed. Krishna is in the heart, he's saying. A living being may forget all that he might have done in his past or present life. But one must know that in the same tree of the material body, the individual soul and super soul are Paratma sitting like two birds. So now, very interesting, this question we discussed also. I did not know what I did in past life. How can you punish it? We might have forgotten all the misdeeds we did in previous life, and I am getting punishment for it now. So the punishment is not given for the activity, the punishment is given to the mentality. That is the point. The punishment is given to the mentality we are carrying. So Lord want to rectify our mentality, because that mentality continues, you commit sinful activities again. It is not, how you know what you did in past life. Now if you did something wrong, you get punished, then you rectify. But here it is not like that. Here the mentality is again and again punished, and then the person, he understands. Yeah, King Pasnibasim. So the mentality is punished. That you have to change your mentality. So again and again punishment is given. So we start thinking, why am I getting this situation? Then what I do, I go to scriptures and I read them. Those are scriptures are telling, see, you have committed something in past life, that's why you are here. If you don't want to suffer further, you behave nicely now. Like say somebody, his wife died. You must be happy. But then he thinks, why did I get this? Or he got some wife who is very dangerous. So he might have, he think, why did I get such a wife? Then he go to scriptures, he read them, and scriptures tell, better you have committed something wrong in previous life. That's why you got such a wife. Then what he will do? At least next life I'll get a good wife, do pious activity. So in that way he will rectify. So the sinful activities, the reaction I am getting, the solution is I have to go to scriptures and try to rectify myself. I may not know what I did, but at least I know that I did wrong. That is very important. So now at least change. One of them, the living being, is enjoying the fruit, so there are two witnesses. Therefore, the Paramatma feature, the super soul, is actually the witness of all activities of living beings, and only by his direction can the living being remember or forget when he might have done what done in the past. The Lord is therefore both the all-pervading impersonal Brahman and the localized Paramatma in everyone's heart. He is the knower of all past, present, and future, and nothing can be concealed from him. The devotee knows this truth, and therefore they discharge their duties sincerely without being overly anxious with for rewards. So they know Lord is going to give whatever I want. So just have to act. And then this is very important. Maybe tomorrow we'll discuss of action. That's always a question. Tomorrow we'll discuss on how we should do action and how to do action. Yes. Besides that, one cannot estimate the Lord's reactions either by speculation or by scholarship. Why does he put some into difficulty and not others? He is the supreme knower of the Vedic knowledge, and thus he is a factual Vedantist. At the same time, he is the compiler of the Vedanta. No one is independent of him, and everyone is engaged in his service in different ways. In conditioned state, such services are rendered by the living being under force of the material nature. Whereas in the liberated state, the living being is helped by the supreme nature in the voluntary loving service of the Lord. So in the spiritual, it's all love only. The motivation is love. There is no incongruity or inbarity in his actions. All are on the path of absolute truth. Bhishmadev correctly estimated the inconceivable actions of the Lord. The conclusion is therefore that the suffering of the representative of religion and the representative of earth as presented before Maharaj Parikshit were planned to prove that Maharaj Parikshit was the ideal executive head because he know well how to give protection to the cows, the earth and the brahmanas, the religious principles, the two pillars of spiritual advancement. Everyone being under the full control of Lord, he is quite correct in his actions when he desires something to be done by someone, irrespective of the consideration of particular case. Maharaj Parikshit was thus put to a test for his greatness. Now let us see how he solves by his sagacious mind. So this is a test for Maharaj Parikshit. That's what, because he did not give direct answer. He said, "Arey, Shastras tell so many things, so many philosophers tell something. Some philosophers says you can never understand. So, my dear king, you only decide what is the cause of my suffering." Can you imagine? You go to a person and you are kept such a big test that you cannot understand only. So, but here Maharaj Parikshit is very intelligent, so he can understand what exactly is the cause. He said, Tutukasan, so best among Brahmanas, Emperor Parikshit, thus hearing the personality of religious speaks, was fully satisfied. Without mistake or regret, he gave his reply. So he's very qualified. So he understood what is the real cause of suffering. So this is actually what is Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is trying to elevate our consciousness, the level of our understanding, the level of our consciousness. Is making our way of thinking much more broader. Much more broader way of thinking. We just cannot point out the mistake like that. We should know the cause behind it. We should understand, and also we should not get bewildered by other philosophers also, because that's why all these things are mentioned, so that we don't get bewildered when people are coming and arguing other things and they are practicing different things. We don't get bewildered because we understand, yes, there is always other philosophies existing. They are eternal philosophers, and that is the mindset and mentality of certain living entities, and they go by that only, and Lord arranges for them like that, and he also gives the intelligence, he also gives them knowledge, and any incident that happened in their life, it proves that this is the way it is right. So everything is by chemicals, or everything by atoms, or everything is by one's own nature, everything is by demigods, or so many other ways where what they are feeling, and it is proved to them that is the way, because Lord has a Paramatma in the heart gives them inspiration. Yes, see, your philosophy is right. So this is the way. But for us, what should we conclude? How we should come out of it? This is why this incident is given. Say Parikshit Maharaj also kept in the situation, how he comes out. Similarly, we also should come out of that situation like that if we are confused. The statement of the bull, the personality of religion, was full of philosophy and knowledge, and the king was satisfied since he could understand that the suffering bull was not an ordinary one. Unless one is perfectly conversant with the laws of the Supreme Lord, one cannot speak such things touching philosophical truths. So this is the point. So unless one is perfectly conversant with laws of Supreme Lord. So what we are doing here, we are learning the broader perspective. We are also understanding the principles that are given by the Supreme Lord. So by understanding it, we can comprehend other philosophers also. Why people think in that way, what makes them think that way, that also will be very clear for us. And we discussed in the beginning also, there are different levels of understanding absolute truth. Lord is Nirakara, Nirguna, and Klaiba, and all other philosophers that we discussed. That misunderstanding will go slowly. The conception of the wrong understanding of absolute truth will go away while going through different cantos of Bhagavad. This is what Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said. So the different understanding of all these philosophers that can be removed from our understanding when we go through Bhagavatam's different cantos. The emperor being also on an equal level, sagacity, replied to the point without doubts or mistakes. So Parikshit Maharaj says, the king said, "Oh, you who are in the form of a bull, you know the truth of religion, and you are speaking according to the principles that are destined, that the destination intended for the perpetrator of religious act is also intended for one who identifies the perpetrator. You are none other than the personality of religion." So here, if you point out to somebody, you get the same amount of reaction. That's what it is saying. So according to the principle that the destination intended for the perpetrator of religious act is also intended for one who identifies the perpetrator. So they both get same destination. So we'll try to discuss what Prabhupada is speaking on it. Prabhupada gives very nice devotional understanding, and maybe we have to discuss. Of course, Prabhuji discussed Balanchit Prabhu, so we'll see some things from Prabhupada also. A devotee's conclusion is that no one can become a benefactor or mischief monger without the sanction of Lord, and therefore the devotee does not consider anyone a devotee does not consider anyone to be directly responsible for such action, but in both cases he takes it for granted that either benefit or loss is God sent, and thus it is his grace. In case of benefit, no one will deny that it is God sent, but in case of loss or reversals, one becomes doubtful about how the Lord could be so unkind to his devotees as to put him in great difficulties. Jesus Christ actually was seemingly put into such great difficulties, being crucified by ignorant, but he was never angry at the mischief mongers. That is the way a devotee accepts things either favorably or unfavorably. And thus, for a devotee, the identifier is as much a sinner as the mischief monger. The devotee tolerates all reverses as God's grace. Maharaj Parikshit observed this, and therefore he could understand that the bull was none other than the personality of religion himself. In other words, a devotee has no suffering at all because so-called suffering is also God's grace for a devotee who sees God in everything. The cow and bull never placed any complaints before the king for being tortured by the personality Kali, although everyone lodges such complaints before the state of authority. The extraordinary behavior of bull made the king conclude that the bull was certainly the personality of religion, for no one else could understand the finer intricacies of the codes of religion. So very, very nice one point is given. This is what we have to learn from all this section. So that is the most important thing to learn is that we have to understand that everything is God sent. So it gives the example of Jesus Christ. He was never angry at the mischief mongers. That is the way a devotee accepts things, either favorably or unfavorably. Or a devotee identifies that it is actually Lord who is sending him. And this is also Haridas Thakur. Said, no, it's all whatever Lord is giving me, I will accept it. If it is coming through this person, he is chastising me. If it is coming through my mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, wife or children or husband, it's all Krishna is sending me. Why should I be upset? Why should be angry on the deliverer of my own karma? It's my own thing that is coming to me. This is a very simple way to understand and solve all our problems in life without getting much disturbed by all these things. So that means then we are following the highest dharma. What is the highest dharma? This is Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma. This is the highest. We are accepting Krishna as our master and just surrender. Anukulasya sankalpo patikulasya varjanam rakshishyati vishvaso gotritte varanam tata. So this is Atmanikshepa Karpanyam Shadvida Sharana. So this is what we are trying to do. And this is what is Parikshit Maharaj understood in this conversation. Yes, my dear Lord, I surrender. I will not blame anyone, and I will not point out mistake on anyone. We discussed this also in Kunti section and last few classes also, few classes before also. We cannot blame anyone for our situation because it's a state of our heart. If my heart is pure, I know that it is not somebody else. If my heart is impure, then I see that everybody is cause of my unhappiness. If my heart is pure, then I can see actually nobody is cause of unhappiness. Lord is sending me. That is the thing. But if you think like that, you should get so many questions. If you are not getting, you are not thinking. The question should come. Then why did Pandavas take revenge? Why Bhima is taking revenge? Why Karna is taking revenge? If you want answers for it, then you have to attend further sessions. Because you didn't ask question, I will not tell the answer. Thus, it is concluded that the Lord's energies are inconceivable. No one can estimate them by mental speculation or by word juggler. So why devotees take revenge? Should they take or not? If everything is caused. So, if you know the answer, there is no problem. So now, Parikshit Maharaj is further speaking. Thus, it is concluded Lord's energies are inconceivable. No one can estimate them by mental speculation or word juggler. The question may be raised as to why a devotee should refrain from identifying an actor, although the devotee knows definitely that Lord is the ultimate doer of everything. Although one knows the ultimate doer, why should one pose himself as ignorant of the actual performer? To answer this doubt, the reply is that the Lord is not only directly responsible for everything is done by his deputy Maya Shakti or material energy. The material energy is always provoking doubts about the supreme authority of the Lord. The personality of religion know perfectly well that nothing can take place without the sanction of Supreme Lord, and still he was put into doubts by deluding energy, and thus he refrained from mentioning the supreme cause. This doubtfulness was due to contamination by both Kali and the material age. Oh, the whole atmosphere of age of Kali is magnified by the deluding energy, and the proportion of measurement is inexplicable. Oh, this is a very nice point. Please try to understand. So, why they did not sell it is Lord's inconceivable energy, Dharma and Umi Devi. So, this is actually the answer that is given. So, why devotee should refrain from identifying an actor, although the devotee knows definitely Lord is ultimate doer. So, they should say, okay, Lord only did what can be done. Although they know ultimate doer, why should one pose himself as ignorant actual performer? They know na Lord done. Directly they could have answered, na Dharma could have answered directly. Lord did, what can we do? To answer this doubt, but why they did not say? The reply is that the Lord is also not directly responsible, because everything is done by his deputy Maya Shakti. So because Lord directly does not do, he does through whom? Through Maya Shakti or material energy. So the material energy is always providing doubts about supreme authority of the Lord. This is actually what happens. So when we are in this material world, we always get bewildered. We never know. Now so many things, so many WhatsApp and so many statuses, people are about dharma, about politics, are about this, about that. So many people are affected in the news or anything. This is actually Maya Shakti. Maya makes sure that person is bewildered, and I am also victim. I also, some status, some news come, I also get bewildered. Oh, why this is happening in society? No, you should know this is ultimate cause is Krishna only. The material is always provoking doubts about the supreme authority of Lord. This is actually what happens to people. The personality of religion know perfectly well that nothing can take place without the sanction of Supreme Lord. He knows. Still, he was put into doubts by deluding energy. This is the problem. And thus he refrained from mentioning the supreme cause. So he told everything except for supreme cause because he is also doubtful. How can Lord do it? The why? This doubtfulness was due to the contamination both by Kali and material energy. So normally material energy is so much bewildering. And in that, in the age of Kali, it is much more dangerous. That is the point. Lord's energy is doing because people are needing it. They are doing there. I discussed it. So many people are killing children in the womb, and why they should not get punished for it? The child is not even seeing such a is not seeing the daylight, and you are killing in the womb only. Who should bear? The whole society gets punishment for it because nobody is opposing it. That's why they should also get. The person who is doing the sin is one level, but the society, why they should get? Because they don't oppose it. If all society says no, it should not be done, then society will be saved. But society, nobody cares. They say, let them, it's their personal life. You are approving it, and the government is approving it. Everybody has to face the burden. So then you get earthquakes, you get floods, then you get all these militants and all these revolts and all these things happen. Why they will happen? Because the behavior of people is like that. It is not by chance. So material nature is not cruel. Material nature, of course, it is cruel because people are also mischievous. Otherwise, material nature is very whatever. She is also good in higher planetary systems because they do some good activity, go to higher planetary systems, enjoy there. So material nature is quite good for them. They are getting all material facilities to enjoy. But when it comes to the planets like us, where we perform karma, so we get reaction for this. So this is the whole atmosphere of age of Kali is magnified by the deluding energy. So, and the proportion of measurement is inexplicable. So much Maya is there and so much people are bewildered. So even Dharma and Bhumi are also bewildered. So in the age of Satya, truthfulness, your four legs were established by four principles of austerity, cleanness, mercy, and truthfulness. But it appears that the three of your legs are broken due to the rampant irreligion in the form of pride, lust for women, and intoxication. The deluding energy or material nature can act upon the living being proportionately in terms of living beings falling prey to the deluding attraction of Maya. Moths are captivated by the glaring brightness of light and thus they become prey to the fire. Similarly, the deluding energy is always captivating the conditioned souls to become prey to the fire of delusion, and Vedic scriptures warn the conditioned souls not to become prey to the delusion but to get rid of it. The Vedas warn us to not go to the darkness of ignorance, but the progressive path of light. The Lord Himself also warns that the deluding power of material energy is too powerful to overcome, but that one who completely surrenders unto the Lord can easily do so. But to surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is also not very easy. The surrender is possible by persons who have cultured. This is a very important point. The surrender is possible by persons who have uh, cultured transcendental knowledge based on the principles of austerity, cleanness, mercy, and truthfulness. These four principles of advanced civilizations were remarkable features in the age of Satya. In the age, practically every human being is qualified Brahmana to the highest order, and the spiritual order of life, they were all Paramhamsas, or the topmost men uh, of renowned sort. But by cultural standing, the human beings were not at all subjected to the deluding energies. A strong men of character were competent enough to get away from the clutches of Maya. But gradually, as the basic principles of Brahminical culture, namely austerity, cleanness, mercy, and truthfulness, become curtailed by the proportionate development of pride, attachment for women, and intoxication, the path of salvation and the path of transcendental bliss retreated far, far away from human society. Thus, with the progress of Kali, age of Kali, people are becoming very proud, very much attached to women, and increasingly victimized by intoxication. By the influence of age of Kali, even a pauper is proud of his penny. The women are always dressed in an overly attractive fashion to victimize the minds of men. And men are addicted to drinking wine, smoking, drinking tea, chewing tobacco, etc. All these habits are so-called advancement of civilization are the root cause of our irreligiosity, and therefore it is not possible to check corruption, barely bribery and nepotism. To check these uh, evil simply by uh, statutory acts and police vigilance, you have to cure the disease of mind by proper medicine, namely advocating the principles of Brahminical culture or the principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truth. Actually, this is a very, very important point. It is not just by some rules you can change it. You have just change the attitude of the people. You have to change their mentality. The modern civilization based on economic development is creating a new situation of poverty and scarcity with the results of blackmailing the consumer commodities. If the leader and the rich man of the society spend 50% of their accumulated wealth mercifully for the for the misled masses of people and educate them in God consciousness, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, certainly the age of Kali will be defeated in its attempt to entrap the victim and victimize the conditioned souls. We must always remember that false pride are too high an estimation of one's own values of life. Under attachment to men or association with them, an intoxication of any kind will divert human civilization from the path of peace. However much the people clamor for peace in the world, the preaching of Bhagavatam principles will automatically render all men austere, clean both inside and outside, merciful to the suffering and truthful in daily behavior. That is the way of correcting the flaw of human society, which is very prominently exhibited in the present moment. So, any questions, comments? We'll end here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.